Hey guys, it's me, walroooos. I'm probably the last person you'd expect to talk about this situation. And I know it's a huge surprise to even see me upload after I've been inactive for around a year. And honestly, the only reason I felt like making this video is so that I could use this topic as a segue into both my perspective on the current state of JToH and my fading interest in the game entirely. Which is why I haven't uploaded or played the game in the past year. I left around the time when I was working on Tower of Impending Doom, which was a pretty big project to me and my close friend PCZM, who you all probably know by now. I'm really happy that I got to be a part of that project, and it was also a really great closing point for me to leave the community as a whole. But like, holy fucking moly, as soon as I left, I kept seeing weird shit happen, especially in inner friend groups that I closed myself off from. I had limited contacts with people, and yet I still somehow got dragged into meaningless drama that only existed because people couldn't shut up about half-assed allegations that did not have reputable evidence at all. It's like as soon as people find something they despise in the community, they go out of their way to make fake evidence to cancel that individual out. I feel like ever since the Punky allegations or the Light Synth document were made public, the foundations of JToH shifted entirely. Both of these examples were primarily kept hidden from the community or ignored, which let a lot of rumors fly around. I think that the worst part about both of those incidents is that this community is comprised of mostly children who aren't aware of their influence when they spread misinformation or joke around when serious things occur. And the JToH staff have been called out constantly for their incapability to put on their big boy pants and actively discourage certain behavior that there is far too much of in the community. Essentially, they typically love to play the inaction card. They've consistently pushed things to the side and tried to cover it up like nothing happened, which allowed certain behavior to just exist. So you might be asking, well, walroooos, how in the fuck does all of this correlate to what happened this morning, where all of the staff members stepped down from their positions? Well, let's take a step back for a moment. I'm not going to cover that incident as much as you may think, because it's still pretty fresh news, and I don't want to get anything wrong or distort the story in any way. Additionally, I wanted to take some time to talk about my personal views on the game and its possible future, now that the team has been cut in half. I know, you probably clicked on this video because you wanted to hear some information about the reasons why the staff are protesting against the conflicting creative direction of the game, and why Juke is getting hundreds of fingers pointed at her for her arrogance and hypocrisy as owner. I'm going to be blunt, I'm not the guy to talk about that stuff, I just want to express how I feel about the events occurring currently. So, let's talk about JToH Deletion 2024. No, the game won't actually be deleted. You'd be a fucking moron if you actually believe that. Or maybe I'm the moron for not believing in it. I don't really know. It's not a fucking religion, so who gives a shit? Pick a side and move on. Point is, the game is in a jeopardizing state at the moment. Most of which I would say is at fault of the community. I can't say that the community is all terrible. I've met a lot of great people who have a lot of respect and maturity. But there are a lot of wonky personalities out there too. Looking at you, elite hobbyists. I admire what the JToH community was, where people could express their achievements and feel pride without judgment. Towers weren't really considered mid, and most of the time people praised even simple advances in style. You weren't like confined to maxing out your part count or appeasing client objects as an obligation to curators, because if you don't have a boring but cool looking mechanic in your tower, then it fails. Since we are on the topic of towers, I'd like to mention that I really hate how most towers that get into the game are super formulaic. As soon as someone gets the verified builder tag slapped on their name, they start to make towers that lose all personality and copy a style or trend to catch the eyes of curators and players alike. I guess it's getting better now, but seriously, did we need Tower of Voyaging into the Earth? Did we need Tower of Dusk to Dawn? Did we need Tower of Eye Candy? No disrespect if you like these towers, but to me they're all too reminiscent of previous towers by the same creators. Things have changed quite a lot, and I feel like with every release, the overarching vision for the game is becoming more and more of a blur. I don't see where this path is going, and the staff have pretty openly lost all motivation to keep up with the high demand that the community has for the game. And as of recently, their breaking point was Juke herself. The game's loss of soul isn't entirely the staff's fault though. I see a lot of people quitting around the time when they've finally beaten a hardest tower that they can be proud of. Part of the thrill of JToH is to see how far you can go, and a lot of the time you are being a shadow to some of the top players and watching over their accomplishments. That alone can keep you addicted to the game. You aspire to be in their position one day, beating a tower that was once considered impossible. I started playing JToH because I stumbled across Con 2005's Generation Failure completion, and I really wanted to beat it one day and feel immense pride in what I've accomplished. But when I did beat Generation Failure, I didn't feel anything. Hell, I even forgot I beat it a couple weeks after I quit. I think what I'm trying to say here is that there is always another tower. Tower of Spiraling Fates was beaten just a few days ago, and you could feel the excitement, but only for a short while. People rushed from the fact a tower borderline impossible was completed towards desperately asking, what's next? I find it ironic that Spiraling Fates originally had an ending talking about how the community is always hungry for more, and the standards are getting too aggressively high, and that message stays true to this day. It's getting progressively harder to please the community. I'm sick of it. I feel myself being drawn towards that mentality too. I can't escape wanting more either. Briefly panning away from JToH, I remember when ATOS Ring 8 came out, and I was absolutely flabbergasted at what was capable out of a tower game. I mean, like, the lobby was impressive as fuck, and I actually liked the towers a lot and didn't feel the pressure of the community's opinions weighing down on my own. But part of me feared that it would be the last time I would feel so excited about a new release. And I was right. JToH has consistently built up the reputation that every new release would astound the player base. And yet I wasn't astounded. Okay, maybe I'm an asshole for not liking the hard work people put on this game, but I didn't have nearly as much fun as I did playing fan games where high expectations are absent in each release. And it's not like I was the one who made those expectations, I inadvertently picked them up from the community. I expected 2024 to be an interesting year for the game's progression, and that it was. Due to recent events, new developers will be hired, and the game will continue to push out updates. I've heard some of the developers who stepped down are planning their own project, but who knows if that'll go anywhere. I mean, maybe it will. I don't know. I can't see into the future. Nonetheless, here we stand. To me, this is the year JToH died. It really feels like the personality that lifted the game to its peak has disappeared, and all of the creative engines behind the beauty this game captured are stepping away. I know that the whole JToH deletion thing was made as a joke, but holy fuck, too much is happening to disregard that it potentially could be real. Anyways, that's all that I have to talk about. And to those of you who are curious about my channel, and if I'll return to YouTube, fuck you, I have no obligation to upload more, haha! Okay, maybe that was a little mean. But maybe I will upload more in the future, but you'd be an idiot to forget that this video is literally me explaining how disinterested I am in the game now, so don't count on it. But thanks for sticking around anyways, it means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed my crybaby rant session. Other than that, I've got nothing more to say, so have a good one, folks. See ya.